Petri dish, the Petri dish, the Petri dish.
This is
The Petri dish, the Petri dish, the Petri dish.
This is the Petri dish. There's something growing in here. And actually, currently, it's a bunch of green onions, some carrots. The sourdough starter is back alive. And yeah, there's just a whole little garden going on. And that's what the apocalypse has done to me, is I've now also become a gardener. Here to talk with me.
It sounds like you're doing the type of gardening that just involves you putting some of your food in a cup of water.
Okay, but that shit totally works, though.
I was at the store, and there was this lady, and she was telling me, if you take this bulb of garlic and you plant it, then you have a garlic plant. But it's like, yeah, but the part of the garlic that you would grow and eat is the part that you would be planting. So I didn't really understand.
You just got to buy 2 garlics.
I guess you could have 2 garlics.
Or you can do like me, just buy like a whole sleeve of garlic that you will never use, and then you just got to freeze some of it in bags and then crack some off when you need it.
Yeah, that's one way to go.
Because I'm living in 2008, or 3008, and everyone else is 2000. I don't fucking know.
I would love it if a stereotype of 2008 culture is having sleeves of garlic.
Yeah, that's what Fergie did all the time, right? She was always fucking around with bulbs of garlic. It's in every Black Eyed Peas video.
Yeah, you got the boots with the fur, and you got your vampire repellent.
Is that? Yeah, because we had to deal with vampires a lot back then. Actually, that's why Twilight existed. Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I stumbled right into that one, but it makes sense.
Oh God, let's see. Let's intro things. With me today is podcast favorite Sam Corbin, flying in via helicopter or whatever we say. Yeah. Yeah,
dude. I bought one of those electric mono wheel things that you see the cool kids scooting around on.
Yeah, one wheels.
Yep. Those guys get laid so much.
It's because they also do CrossFit.
Oh, is that the thing?
I don't know. Those people all have impeccable balance, and it bothers me. I've tried riding one of those one wheels, and it went terribly.
It looks like there's a big learning curve to get to an amount of skill at the very top, as good as you could get. It's still not fun or cool looking.
And also, like, unlike the other board sports, like, even if you get extreme with, like, snowboarding, and it's, like, a few $1,000s worth of shit, like, you have to be good at that point, or at least, like, a skateboard, you can spend $30 and become serviceable at it. One wheels also cost, like, $1,500 or some shit, and the best you can do is just riding around on it.
Yeah. Oh, check this out. I'm about to pull off a gnarly not fall down.
I like that that's how we've become, though, is now we're just creating elaborate ways to roll around and not fall down. Like, it started with the Segway, and then we were like, what if we got rid of the bar that is keeping you on it? And that was how we got the hoverboards that sucked. And then we just decided to take away one of the wheels and balance on it. And now we're just fucked.
Yeah. What was the robot? I think there's been a lot in like cartoons and stuff, but just the one wheel and it scoots around. Maybe Helper from Venture Brothers?
That sounds right. I don't know. I haven't studied enough animation robots in order to be able to pick one out at will.
Yeah. Well, what do you got? You got Helper, you got Bender, you got Rosie from the Jetsons.
I think that's it.
I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, R2-D2.
He's not
C-3PO.
They're not really cartoons, though.
No, I guess not. Well, it's weird. It seems like in this day and age there would just be an abundance of robots that we knew their names.
I was hoping that would be the case too. Who's your favorite cartoon robot?
Oh man, out of the three, how do I pick? I don't know. I think Bender's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that guy that does the voice for him until he's the voice of everything now.
Yeah, he really is just dipping his hand in all the pots, and it's beautiful. I like that. I like that we can have that with voice actors.
Yeah. Well, Mel Blanc back in the day was taking all the glory.
Fuck, I mean...
It wasn't even like a job. It's just like, well, that's the one guy that does it.
Yeah, like the studio has one guy on call, so if you need a voice, fucking call him. I mean, that's kind of how it went with literally everyone that's going now, you know? Like, there's a few studios that just call a handful of people, and that's how you end up calling fucking Billy West or Phil Lamar in to fucking come do a voice for you.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I have a theory that with this type of like lockdown stuff, I think there's going to be way more animated things coming out.
God, I hope so.
Don't you think? Because the animators can do it in their house, and the voice actors can do it in their house, and they can just Zoom call for the whatever storyboarding or whatever they need to do.
I would like if that was the case, but I feel like the people that already have those skills were already maxed out on the ability to use those skills.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like, there's no way I'm picking up animation as a hobby.
I thought Nick was going to get into voice acting.
I mean, he does it, but it's mostly just, like, corporate shit, where it's just like, all right, now I gotta read this person's training material.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, time to read this company's specific HR documentation about sexual harassment, and then you only get, like, $30. And there goes your weekend.
Damn, does it take that long to do it?
No, but, I mean, I've only done 2 voiceover things, and one of them I wasn't even picked for. It was just like, I did the audition, and then I'm pretty sure, just used the track from the audition and never paid me. So it's shitty.
Yeah, I guess. Well, not to diminish the skill that it takes to do that, but it's just talking, and it's you don't even have to like come up with the things you're going to say. So anyone can do it.
Yeah, I mean, it really is it's the cushiest job to get if you can actually secure the part and not get fucked over by the place.
Yeah.
It would be so
good. You know, the cool gig would be is if you were close enough to the whatever, what's the guy from Frozen, the snowman, whoever that guy is? I want to say Josh Bean.
Josh Gad.
What's his name? Yeah. Well, okay, so they make the big movie, and then they try to do like the spin-off series, and they often don't get the actual actor to do that. They get someone that just kind of sounds like them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only hope that most impressionists have. I mean, look at fucking Justin Ruppel. Aside from, like, getting his balls touched every day by Reno Tahoe Comedy, you know, like, he locked in taking over all of TJ Miller's shit because DreamWorks didn't want to touch a dude that sucks.
What did TJ Miller do? I think I was just tuned out of pop culture whenever that went down.
Honestly, I don't remember at this point. I think it was just something about... It was probably just some weird, shitty thing that, like, offhandedly isn't good for kids, so DreamWorks immediately dropped him. I don't know. I've never been the biggest fan of that dude because I believe all the characters he plays, so I guess he's doing his job right.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He probably did some shit that DreamWorks didn't like, so they just canned him and hired Justin Ruppel to be in fucking How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Dude, that's a pretty good gig.
Right? So, like, you can do that. You just gotta do enough impressions, then eventually a studio's like, you want to pretend to be Morgan Freeman for this commercial? And you just gotta be like, yes. Yes, I do.
So wait a minute. How does the intellectual property go if, like, just sounding like a guy?
It doesn't matter, yeah, because it's not that person.
Damn, okay.
You are just voicing a character. That's it.
Well, if they ever do The Secret Life of Pets, the TV series. I'm going to try to get that Hannibal spot.
Oh, for the love of God, do it. That would be so good. I really do love that vein of entertainment that's like, you know, you have to just sound close. And you don't even need to sound close most of the time. You have to just, here's these 3 seconds. We need you to not fuck it up. And then you just go in and, like, create the clean version of a TV show for TBS or a movie, you know? Like, you just do that voiceover. Like, can you sound like Samuel L. Jackson, but not all the time. You just need to be able to say these 3 words that we need to dub over. The end. Paycheck in the mail.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
I would love that.
Yep. I bet there's a lot of that where they're like, oh, we got to just edit this one tiny clip. But that was months ago that he did all that, recording or whatever. And why? Why get the big name actor and pay him thousands of dollars to just do 3 minutes? Just get someone that is serviceable.
And I feel like
he's never going to know. Samuel L. Jackson never watches the thing that he does the voice for, I feel like.
God, no.
That could be fun. So how are you recently?
Fuck, I don't even know. I don't know. For anyone that will be listening to this, I just fucking took 5 weeks off of doing any podcasts or anything because I was like, not feeling it. Not feeling creating at all, really, anymore.
Oh, that's a bummer. Well, because if you have any audience at all, this is the time that they'd be listening to your stuff more.
That's the thing, though, is it's for a lot of the smaller entertainers that I've seen, it's the exact opposite because literally every giant company has been reduced to doing exactly what I do, except better with more money behind them. And full production companies. So it's like, okay, I could do a fun webcam thing. I could do my podcasts, but that is what literally everyone else can do, and they have much bigger followers, and they're more loyal. So any audience that I have is probably more loyal to the dozen or so other things that they like to check in with every week. So there's no point in me doing it, because what am I going to contribute other than the same sadness?
Yeah, I guess so.
And there wasn't shit for me to talk about anyway, so it's just like, do I just meander and try to pretend like it's important for me to say stuff right now, or do I just call it for a second and regroup on me feeling myself? And that's what I did, and I think it turned out pretty good.
Well, and the other problem is, like, okay, well, what is our content going to be based on? Just commenting on other entertainment that we're watching because nothing's happening in our lives?
Yeah, and it's either that or, like, commenting on the exact same news articles that literally everyone else is commenting on because it's all we're shown of the outside world.
Yeah, fuck. Yep.
So, like, I just didn't want to have to filter... I didn't want to have to apply my own filter to the exact same shit that everyone else is dealing with, because, you know, you strain enough turds through the same mesh strainer, and eventually you're just stuck with the same mess.
Yeah, I guess so.
I just decided to keep
Speaking
my turds.
of which, you riding with Biden?
Is that his slogan now?
Oh, dude, no malarkey. Yeah, riding with Biden, dude.
Oh, sweet fucking Christ. I don't know. I can't with politics anymore. I just only voted in the local elections, and I'm just kind of ignoring the world at large.
Yeah, dude, I got real into it around that primary season, and then it's like, oh, it's like I thought. It is rigged.
Yeah, I mean,
you know, so it's like, fuck.
It's never not rigged for dynasties. I mean, that's the reason Trump won, is it is set up to be the reality show that all of us know that life is anyway. You know, everything is churned out and perpetuated by giant media conglomerates because that's what we've let them become. And so now we are either beholden to what the conglomerates decide, or we can just ignore it. You know, the same way that we all get to watch Disney Plus, we all have to watch politics unfold in front of us completely out of our control.
Yeah.
And
Oh, man.
Donald Trump won because he is a reality TV show person. That's how you win. Just be popular and ridiculous.
Well, yeah, if you do crazy shit, they cover you.
Yeah.
And when you do crazy shit that's like, oh, well, we have to cover this. This is insane. Like Biden, where he's just like so old that he's retarded.
Yeah, he's just like threatening to fight the people that are going to vote for him. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
It's just funny to me because it works for Trump, because it's like he says something crazy and then he gets all this free publicity, and some people like the crazy shit that he did. But for Biden, it's just like
it's sad.
He fucks up every once in a while, and it's not even like anyone's like, oh, fuck, isn't this crazy? This is fucking awesome. Look at this guy. It's like not even a spectacle, just an embarrassing, media story. I've never heard them call, what's the word they always use? Not faux pas. What do they call it?
A gaffe.
Not botched. Yeah, a gaffe. I've never heard the word gaffe used so often.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, okay, Joe Biden was our vice president for fucking 8 years, and we only saw him for the first 2 years because he fucked up so much that they went, you're not allowed in front of the cameras anymore. There's too many videos of you saying vaguely racist stuff or touching kids, so we're going to keep you underground. And now they trotted his corpse out in front of the cameras for the last 2 years, and they're like, look, we got the Weekend at Bernie's back alive, remember this guy? And we were like, we remember him being weird as fuck and saying all the wrong things. And of course, what's he come out hot with? Like, he comes out hot fucking touching kids.
Dude, he raped a lady.
Yeah.
And here's the thing to me. If you're going to be a politician and you're going to rape some people, that just seems par for the course. He didn't even rape her right. Who does finger raping? At least use your dick. Come on.
I
want
a politician who's going to follow through on his commitments, especially if he's committing on raping somebody. At least follow through and do it all the way. That's what I want out of my politicians, and that's why Donald Trump got where he is, because he's like, yeah, I just walk up, I grab him by the pussy, and everyone's just like, that tracks. Joe Biden is trying to be covert and being like, let me just give you a little diddle. Ew, no, go the fuck away. Either do it all the way or not at all.
It's just so perfect because, it's the thing that Trump talked about in a bus with the TMZ dude. And everyone's like, oh, you grab him by the pussy. And then we find out Biden literally grabs people by the pussy.
Yeah, and that's why it's fucking weird, There's just all these old white dudes vaguely telling us what they're into. Like, Trump wants to fuck his daughter. Biden wants kid to pull on his leg hair. Like, all of it's just fucking strange. And all we can do is watch it all burn.
Well, let me ask you this, okay? Just from pure entertainment value, do you think it'll be more entertaining for 4 more years of Trump, or to see what Biden has to throw into the mix?
That's the thing, is we already saw what Biden had to throw into the mix, and it's the same.
No, he's whatever was wrong with him before is heightened now.
Oh, it's extra wrong, but the thing is, he has no follow-through. Not only is he a political moderate, he's a moral moderate, and just literally, he's a fucking ball of clay that anyone could do anything to. So he's an old country buffet. You know what's going to be there, you know it's going to suck, but maybe an old person might shit themselves while you're there. It can only get so entertaining.
Well, my thing is, I know it's going to be bad. I don't know. I'm literally at this point, the president is just, it's just a thing for people to make jokes about.
It's a talking head, yeah.
I'm voting, is it going to be more fun to make fun of Biden or Trump?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't vote for Trump on entertainment value, only because we've milked everything we can from him, and now he is imploding.
Yeah.
He can't even finish press conferences anymore because he just feels so attacked he can't finish a sentence. So it's we can't even squeeze him for funny quotes anymore because he just won't talk. And that's the worst. Like, if anything, if you're going to be crazy, again, like, at least go full crazy. Why didn't he nuke North Korea already? Why isn't he just calling China straight up chinks in the media? Like, that's what I wanted out of the crazy guy. Like, if he's going to go full bore and tell everyone to call this the Wuhan China virus, you know, like, either be fully racist or don't. I'm just so sick of everyone trying to play politics when just be you, and if it sucks, you're going to get votes anyway. We all know humanity sucks. If everyone just played the character they're supposed to play, we'd be stuck in less gray areas.
Yeah, I guess so. It's funny, too, how, like, the worst things he does kind of get swept under the rug. And, like, the China virus, it's like, I kind of get what you're going for. It came from there, so I guess it's kind of rude to call it that. But I don't know, like, it's funny how that becomes the thing that everyone's so upset about when it's like, but there's people dying, though. Like,
yeah,
him calling it that doesn't make it any worse. It doesn't help.
But that's the thing, is he's so not upset about the dying people. Like, literally in the press conference the other day, they were just like, so what are you going to do about the dying people? He was like, ask China. And they're like, what? That's not an answer. It's like, no, you're in charge of here. Your people are dying. But of course, they're not his people because they're just abstract numbers, and he's too old. There used to be a scale that people said is like, you stop being smarter than you can ever be around 50 and you start regressing after that. And it's like, in your 70s is when you become the most good at making people believe you have life experience and are still smart, but start to lose all of your cognitive faculties and again begin to become a toddler. So it's like, I'm guaranteeing he is like so close to losing his mind fully that he might not understand object permanence anymore. We might be able to just straight up play peekaboo with him at press conferences and get away with it.
Well, that'd be kind of fun.
It would be. And that's, that's all I can hope for at this point is like, who's going to be old enough to fuck with and more fun?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. There's no way. Do you think they're going to stick with Biden till November? Like,
yeah, they will, because they did the same thing with Hillary Clinton. They just put all of their chips on her initially, no matter how much everyone was like, please don't.
Well, I get it. She's like a part of the machine in that way, and she is the one that got anointed. But my thing is like, yeah, but she was, her brain worked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's definitely a difference between her and Biden, just from like, I don't know. I felt like this whole Biden thing is a great opportunity for them to pull a last-minute switcheroo and put whoever they wanted in. But I guess that's not going to happen.
That's not going to happen, but all we can hope for is Biden gets bullied enough by the progressives to toss someone smart in the vice president position, and then just kind of shove their hand up his ass and use him as the ventriloquist dummy for actual change. That's all we could hope for if he actually wins. Because he's so moderate that it is almost offensive. But that's...
Yeah, they call him the senator from MDNA, because he was like, did you ever see that speech where he literally just said, well, I went and I prostituted myself in front of the credit card companies to try to get some donor money.
Yeah.
It was like back in the 90s or something. It's like, oh, dude. And the whole thing about him like totally biting other people's speeches and using and getting caught over and over. That's why he ran in like 82 or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah.
He's so old.
He's old as shit. But I think that's going to be the situation with the entirety of the DNC anyway, is just they are so they're just so into saving, quote unquote, the other moderates that are on the Republican side that now they're jerking themselves off too much about it. So they're never going to try to become progressive because they know that they can fish onto the other side of the aisle and pull people that don't want Donald Trump, which is already happening. There's a House of Representatives guy from Iowa who just switched to the Democratic Party because he was like, I cannot support Trump anymore. So he switched.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. I'm all about Jesse Ventura for Green Party.
Yo, Jesse Ventura he's not bad. he's a progressive.
So fuck his politics. Not that I don't agree with him, but
he also knows the angle.
At this point, it doesn't even matter. He's just the most entertaining option. That actually says stuff.
Yeah, and that's all we can hope for is that, like, maybe The Rock will actually run. Maybe Jesse Ventura will continue his progressive runs. Maybe Kim Kardashian might actually run for something because they all have the machine power. We no longer have politicians as we knew them. We have influencers. And influencers want the same shit politicians want. Power and change for themselves.
Yeah. You know what really trips me out is thinking about, like, how little politicians make in comparison to, like, how much someone would make doing fucking Wall Street bullshit or, you know, being a CEO of something. It's like, oh, clearly these are people that are geared towards making as much money because that's the proxy for power. Until you get to a certain point, and then it's like, oh, well, the only way you can get more power than being a billionaire is to be a billionaire with an army behind you.
Yeah.
So it just seems to me like there's a reason why. How much do they make? $500,000 a year to be a congressman? Yeah. It's like, oh, so all these people are stepping down from their COO job to go run for Congress to make 1/10 of the money. Why? Oh, well, there must be some other type of power or prestige or something that they're after, because why the fuck would you take that pay cut if your whole life you've been devoted to making a shitload of money?
Yeah, I think after a while they just get bored of I think they get bored of earning so much money because you either have to be rich and then influence a politician or be a politician and try to get rich people to give you money. You can't do both because we have, you know, those checks and balances in place to be like, hey, maybe don't let politicians be directly bought. We have to have quote-unquote super PACs, which sometimes are just like 10 dudes with a bunch of money, and we think that that's fine.
Yeah. Well, have you seen the stuff where it's like, and it's not even a partisan thing. It's this guy and this lady like had insider information from being in the government to do different shit with their stocks, and now they're getting in trouble for it.
Yeah. I think it's always funny to find, like, you can tell that some people become rich and then they find out what is illegal. You know, like, some people, they get to a certain point of making money and then, like, some accountant somewhere goes like, oh, you haven't done your taxes right for 12 years. And they're like, oh, shit, I haven't done my taxes for 12 years. So that explains that. You know, like, the same thing happened with Martha Stewart.
It's like how we might, like, speed or park somewhere that we're not supposed to, because we're like, well, in this moment, even if I do get the fine, it's worth it. I'll take the chance that I'll get the fine, and if I do, it's not even that bad. So we park like an asshole, and then we get a ticket, and we go, fuck, they got me this time. But it was like, you still knew the whole time that you're doing something wrong. You just made that cost-benefit analysis and went, fuck it, roll the dice.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the benefit of being rich enough in society, that then nothing becomes illegal. There's just various ways to buy the thing you want. You know, like, aside from direct human trafficking and murdering somebody, you can get away with pretty much anything with an amount of money.
Yeah.
Because, I mean,
shit.
I mean, even if you accidentally do kill somebody, fuck it. Buy a circuit judge, get your kid's case all the way up into the Supreme Court, and boom, you win. You know, it's
so weird because it's an amount of money that just doesn't even make sense to want to possess if you didn't want to do criminal shit. Like, I'm not really that, like, motivated by making a bunch of money, but it's nicer to have more money than less. Yeah. But as far as I'm concerned, like, I don't know, by the time I have a nice house and a fucking, I don't even know what I was, like a dirt bike, just whatever fucking stupid toys you would want to have, pool table in your house and a fucking, like Cribs level shit is like the height of my aspiration, which is, but these people want something more than that, and what more could it be other than the thrill of fucking people over because you're crazy?
I mean, I honestly, like, I think I understand that at a certain level. You know, like, tack on 4 zeros to the back of my current bank balance, and I already have that plan in my brain. You know, like, I already know at various stages of me being rich where I want to be and what I'll do. But at the same time, I'm not an entirely huge shitbag, so I know what is enough. Like,
yeah. Well, I wonder, do you think it's the same thrill as when you've gotten to a certain level of comedy where you can say something fucked up and make it funny and get away with it? Do you think it's the same mechanism in the brain where you get off on that thrill of doing something technically wrong and getting away with it?
Definitely, because I've known people whose hunger is mostly just for power rather than anything else. It doesn't even come to money. It is just around the things I enjoy, what if I had total control? And that's what drives them all the time. So those people are fun to come across, especially when they are nowhere near close to their actual goal and then they just have to start settling for stuff.
Yeah. Damn, dude. What's your crazy prepper, like, bug out or bug in fantasy?
Fuck, I don't know. I think if I had my druthers within the entire apocalypse, I would have my own patch of area, whether it be I have to shut down my own block and I get all the neighborhood together and we become our own little township that doesn't fuck with anybody else. I would create my own little sustainable community and have the little farms and have the chickens and have all that ready. But ultimately what I'd want to do is just run like a pirate radio station.
Oh, fuck. What was that movie that came out, it must have been 7 years or so ago, where it was just that guy, and it was like the apocalypse was happening. I think it was like a war-style, like, invasion or something. But he was just in his, like, radio studio broadcasting out to the... What the fuck was that movie?
Oh, I mean, they had...
I can't think of it now.
They had an element of that in a bunch of things. But I know I Am Legend, he had a constant radio thing going, but that was just a pre-recorded message to meet him at a place. Let's see. There was even just a pirate radio movie, because there was that one place in Britain that just straight up, like, bought an old oil tanker or whatever, and ran their own radio station that was technically illegal to Britain, but not on maritime laws.
Damn. Oil tanker money.
One of these days.
Damn, you know what else I've been thinking about is, like, you know how, like, the gun people that are, like, hoarding guns, and it's like, well, they have nukes, so...
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck you think you're going to do against the government when they have nukes and you have, oh yeah, you have an AK. All right. Well, we have robot airplanes that can evaporate you. So
yeah, they will thermally detect you, and somebody could just wreck your entire family from the comfort of their own home, you know?
But here's my thing is, like, I think they let people have that to some degree in this country to give them, if you're that type of person, allowing them to have the guns kind of pacifies them. So they just think, well, no matter how shitty my life is, I still have my gun. But I was thinking in this way, like, what if everyone had enough shit to survive for a year? You know, like, what if we all slowly were crazy preppers and then the entire country was off the grid?
I mean, that would be the ultimate goal for, I guess, society, to be self-sufficient enough that there isn't any food deserts, that there isn't large swaths of the population condensed in one area and then not existing in other areas. You know, like, if we all had the ability to just sustain ourselves and not rely on, you know, some overarching giant government to sit above the local government, to sit above our regional government, you know, like, there would be an easier time dealing with people, because instead of having to apply for, you know, federal assistance, you could just ask your neighbor for help.
Yeah, that would be. It's so funny how, like, when you talk to people that are, like, not like Bernie Sanders style, like, moderate socialist people, but, like, if you talk to someone that's, like, straight up communist, it really gets back to that, like, rural living, almost the same vision that, like, an anti-government libertarian type person would have. Like,
yeah.
it kind of, they fold back in on each other.
I mean, that's kind of how it goes. Is at a certain point, you know, the same way that libertarians say, you know, like, zero government, I'll be fine on my own. And you think, okay, are you going to be taking care of anybody? Do you have dependents? Do those people care about, like, neighbors and stuff? Okay, well, now you have a community. How do you govern your tiny community? Okay, now someone's in charge again. You know, like, you know, and the same way with, you know, like, anarcho fucking leftist people. It's like, okay, you want, you know, quote unquote, the state in whatever way it can be, so everyone is working towards using their own personal production to benefit themselves and those around them. And that's great up until you come down to, you know, distribution and worrying about the way it's going to get in the hands of all of the people you're in charge of. Like, no matter what, society has to exist in some way next to other people.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, or you could go the Bill Gates route and just have a quarter of the people that live right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's one way to do it.
I feel like this shit has made everyone so much more of a weirdo in whatever way that you were already semi-leaning. Everyone's just gotten so much stranger in whatever direction they were already kind of flirting with.
Oh, 100%. I know I've gotten 100% off the deep end back into the pool of whatever I think, because I already, like, I understand the don't trust the government libertarian people, especially in my family, because, like, some of them are still, like, super Republican about shit, and they're like, yeah, blame Obama. I'm like, no, blame all of the politicians that you're looking up to. Stop thinking that, like, ooh, Trump's got all the secrets and he's going to help you. He's not. He doesn't give a fuck about you. He has literally held press conferences specifically saying he doesn't give a fuck about you. So stop thinking that the state is going to help you at all, and make sure your state is going to help you. You know, like, Washington, D.C. will never be there for you. Maybe even your entire state will never be there for you. But you can find the mayor's house. They're very unprotected, and you can lob their head off whenever you want. So if everyone just took it upon themselves to hold their own states accountable, then we could go back to what the country's supposed to be. United States. United loosely, you know? Like, we're not all supposed to be one homogenous mass, and that's kind of the reason we have the things we have.
That's kind of where I'm at, where it's like, maybe the whole beauty of the country is how it was started, where it's like a different state can experiment with a different thing.
Yeah.
And if it goes wrong, it's like, oh, well, then the rest of us can kind of help them out and get back to normal if it goes terribly. But it seems like we don't take any big swings at anything. It seems like everything just stays applesauce for everybody.
And that's the thing, is the last thing we took a big swing on was weed. Colorado was like, we'll take a crack at it. It went fucking great. And then Alaska and Washington were like, oh, now we want to try. And now it's fucking trickled around to more sensible areas, you know, because no one wants to base themselves off of Washington or California or Colorado, but like Nevada, totally cool. Other states that have it medicinally, it's gone fucking fine. So like,
right,
that's the last thing that's happened.
It's the thing too with gay marriage and all that stuff. Like, yeah, a couple states did it, and society did not collapse. Everything was fine. There was just a couple more happy gay people.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, I guess we can do that.
It's because there was two sides. It was like gay people were like, we want to get married because when my fucking husband is in the hospital, they won't let me see him because we're not quote unquote married, which is fucking bullshit. And the other side was like, marriage is only man and woman. And it's like, why? The end, Bible. It's like there's no argument on the other side other than the quote-unquote sanctity of marriage. And most of the people fighting for that had been divorced like 5 times. So it's like, you don't care, right. You're just a bigot. And that's what we have to deal with most of the time.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, I was thinking about, so it's like the two coasts kind of have their own ideas. I guess not even the coast on the east, it's just the northeast is that way. But when you talk to someone here in Nevada that thinks they're, you know, very progressive or left wing or whatever you might want to call it, it's like, oh no, those people in California think you're Hicks.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter like what you're into or what you believe in or how you vote or whatever. It's like, no, you're still flyover trash.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought was funny. Like, when I first moved to Nevada, I just figured I'd be dealing with the exact same shit I dealt with in South Dakota. But I was actually surprised, you know, I was like, oh, this area is vaguely progressive. Like, sure, there's the same amount of fucking Confederate flags and people being generally racist or, like, loving cops so much. But, like, there's also the same amount of people around here that, like, probably used to hate the government as hippies back in the day and now just hate everything in general. So they're like, I don't know, I'm probably for Trump. I don't know, get the fuck away from me. And I'm like, okay, I get you. You know, like, you're crazy, but you are crazy in the way that you just want everyone to get away from you, which is cool. I think, like, it's way worse to be under... Fucking South Dakota is still fucking up during all of this. The governor of South Dakota tried to tell the reservations that they had to close down the COVID-19 checkpoints that they placed up on their fucking land. And they were like, fuck you, we're sovereign lands. You can't tell us what to do just because you like to be a bitch. Even all of, like, the senators and congressmen in the area were like, yeah, governor, you can't say shit. Shut up. And then they all signed a paper saying that. And I was like, I love that people are finally realizing, like, yeah, politicians are just fucking idiots and assholes that think they can tell other people what to do because they also hunger for some sort of power. And it's very easy to just tell them to go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
We just got to be able to do it.
It's so funny. You ever think about, like, hey, what happened to hippies?
Oh, I know exactly what happened to hippies.
Well, some of them got rich.
Yeah.
And then now they're just, like, the Hollywood elite, whatever QAnon thinks the Democrats are, that's what half of the hippies became. And then the other half became, like, stay off my land Republicans.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that happens with any giant movement. Like, I think the same thing of the scene kids from the mid-2000s. Like, most of them just mellowed out and became moms. You know, like lady with her tits out in 66 that was fried on acid talking about growing her own wheat because she thinks that she can do it is somebody's grandma now. Somebody's grandma who's just like, I don't know, I liked The Apprentice. So, like... At a certain point, you just become too lazy to have opinions.
Well, so here's what I don't understand, and I haven't gotten a good answer to this. I don't know if I'm asking it in the right way, but where is counterculture?
Ooh, you see, that's a good question, because what used to be considered counterculture only existed because culture had to exist independent of location, I guess, or it was dependent on location, you know? Now we have the internet. All culture exists everywhere all the time. There's no counterculture. There's just shit you like and shit you don't like, which is why it annoys me that, like, people think that that's still a thing.
Yeah, well, I guess when it used to be rebellious to get a tattoo, and now your pediatrician that takes care of your kid's foot when he breaks it, that guy's got all kinds of tats all over him. So it's like, well, is that even a rebellious thing to do a tattoo? It's not rebellious to smoke weed anymore. It's like, you know, there's lawyers that practice corporate weed law. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like... I don't know what even is the thing that we're. It's like we have. It seems like there used to be these flashpoints that used to get people riled up, and there would be a movement behind. But now our problems are so they permeate into every issue that it's just kind of a blanket being upset in general at everything. That nothing really has a sharp point to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been talking about this for a while in various ways, but I think it has to stem from we used to be able to be outraged about stuff as a culture, but outrage culture got milked by the media and fucking literally everyone else. And like by the time we rolled around to the mid 2000s, and now I guess even up until like 2012, I'd say, you know, like hyperbole became the norm. Everything was epic or the best or the worst or fucking it was AIDS, you know, like shit was gay and terrible. When really, like, sometimes you just didn't vibe with a thing. And so now hyperbole culture and outrage culture is like 10 years down the road, and that's about the time that culture starts forgetting about shit, that now everyone is missing how to be outraged about things properly, so we can no longer use outrage as the point of entrance into any particular thing. No one gives a fuck about children getting murdered anymore. You know, like... No one cares about people being raped, about children being shot, about drone bombing foreign people's weddings. Like, we can't pretend we care anymore because it all exists out there. We have entire websites dedicated to watching people get their legs broken for fun and shit. You know, like, nothing...
Well, imagine if Jeffrey Epstein happened in the 90s.
Oh, it would have been huge.
Yeah.
It would have been all that was... Everyone shat the bed about a fucking, like, Cuban kid being misplaced for weeks back in the 90s.
Yeah, one fucking kid.
Yeah, but, like, now we're just straight up locking as many of those brown kids in cages as possible, trying to get the media to pay attention, and no one gives a shit, because outrage is over.
Well, you know why that is because the other side, the bad guys, have a great response to that, which is Obama built those cages.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I guess I'll shut up.
But that's the thing is, like, they think that that's the point that everyone is like, ooh, that's going to shut us down. Like, Okay, but that's a past thing, you know? Like, we want to do things about it now because no one cared before. Like, obviously you didn't care before, or else you probably would have brought it up. But now we're like, oh, shit, that's bad. And I just...
Yeah, it just doesn't have that punch to it. It just doesn't have that... because it would require people refuting Obama as the best president ever for them to go against something that's happening now that he's completely complicit in.
The Democrat moderates can't handle that.
Well, to me it feels like the left got half their dick cut off, and now we're trying to fuck someone real hard, and it's like, but you don't have any more dick.
Oh, man, the Democratic Party got their whole dick cut off by the time they voted in Obama for a second term. Like, we already knew he wasn't a progressive anymore, yet we still touted him as this pillar of what America could be. But all he did was kind of just keep the moderate agenda going, and then he fucked up by trying to, surveil everybody and steal their internet and make it one big watched-over fucking thing like we're China. So it's like, oh, yeah, that was real fucked up, but I guess we just didn't want Mitt Romney so bad that we just, kept him going. So, I don't know. I just think that nobody wants to be outraged anymore, so the only other thing that they go to is apathy, but... That's just as boring, you know? Like, it's the same place we already were, is just straight up apathy for everything, because action makes people feel like they believe a thing. And you don't have to believe anything to do something. You just have to do it.
I was thinking about this the other day. Watch the movie Office Space now. And tell me if you have any empathy for the plight of the moderately attractive late 20s white guy that has to go to a job in an office. Like, oh, what a bummer. You could see a doctor if you wanted to. You have to go to a job where a nice lady has a slightly annoying voice that answers the phone. That's your that's your battle cry. Like, holy fuck, this is... Imagine trying to make that movie now with those grievances being the thrust of what you're rebelling against.
Okay, but that's coming back, because think about the amount of white dudes with opinions you know.
Oh, every single one. Why wouldn't you have one?
Exactly. It's just, we're going to come back around to that. I mean, observational comedy is never going to go anywhere. And so we're going to be stuck in the same feedback loop we've been stuck in for 20 years. Because everyone refuses to do anything, so we're just going to be stuck. Because we already did the loudest, we already did the most crazy, you know, with everything we've ever done. I mean, even just think about Adult Swim programming over the last 8 years. Eric Andre was chainsawing tables in half and then slurping up his own barf. You know, mid-2000s we had Jackass. Dudes were, running around in pits of fire with their balls out. We've done the most we can do aside from just straight up murdering people on camera, because by quote-unquote standards, we're not allowed technically to murder people on camera, yet we can still watch people die just by a quick Google search. There's nowhere else to go other than to look inward, but everyone is afraid of that.
Well, you know what's funny, too, to me, is, I have this weird view of... Okay, so they had Buttigieg, right?
Yeah.
And he was young and gay, and he did horribly with gay people. He did horribly with young people. We had that Kamala Harris lady, and no black people voted for her at all. So it's I think what, the Democratic Party has as its thing that the carrot on a stick that they're going to trick us all into going with them is this identity politics shit where it's no, actually the super old Jew would be better for black people than the black lady. So it's in that it shows up in the votes and they just don't know what to do with it. They're like, oh shit. It's, to me, it's like they put on this facade of caring, but it only ends up being caring in a way that looks good and doesn't cost their donors money.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. But that's, I don't know, people not being able to get a minority vote out of anybody is, it's not surprising to me, only because society has systematically failed all minority groups all the time, so it's not a surprise those people aren't turning up to the polls to make a difference. Like, again, that is such a white ideal.
I know. Well, just saying that you'll stick a black face in front of black people and they'll vote for anyone that looks like them.
And that's where the Democratic Party is stuck in the 90s, you know? Like, they're never going to get past the idea of, you know, like, the way Portland existed.
Clinton plays saxophone on the Tonight Show or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And I guess black people like saxophone, and you know what I mean? Like, that's still their idea of how to appeal to people, rather than like, maybe we'll spend some of this money to take care of you. Or the only path out of poverty is to risk your life in the military. Like, I really think that it's like the Democratic Party is far more like racialized and focuses on that way more because they think that that's their strength than actually doing anything.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much par for the course. That's and that's why Republicans are going to keep winning, because Republicans want to do whatever they want to do regardless of who it affects. Democrats want to pretend that they're going to push the bar so far for everyone that they end up doing nothing. You know, like the Democratic Party is the dude at the gym that loads all the weights on the bar and then takes a bunch of Instagram selfies with it.
Yeah, and then never has to lift it.
Then they call it a day, and then they get home, and their wife is like, "Why do you have a $40 gym membership? You look weak as fuck." And they're like, "Nah, check out this picture," and except that picture is any minority. So it's like, none of us, we like, I don't trust any of those people. I don't even trust the local politicians if I can fucking friend them on Facebook, because I know at the end of the day, I'm the only person that can keep me from getting murdered and or disappointed.
Yeah.
I just...
You know what's funny is I went to go get this, I bought Kate, like, she broke her down stem to her bong.
Oh.
And I went to get her a new one, and it's so funny. It's like my joke that I used to do back when people told jokes. But no, I was at the bong store, and it's right next to the it's called Cal Ranch, and it's like a hardware store that sells camping stuff and feed for chickens and Carhartt shirts. And also guns. And so I stopped in there and I looked at the fucking guns and I was like, oh, that one's affordable and it's a brand I've heard of. I don't know shit about guns, but it's kind of been on my mind to get one for a while. But then I started looking and I was like, well, I can't just get the gun. You gotta have a safe, and you gotta have the kit to clean it, and you gotta have this and that. And I was like, there's a lot that goes into that lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah, I'm too cheap. I'll just have a baseball bat by my bed. I don't know what that has to do with anything that we were talking about, but
no, I like it. I mean, I got plenty of guns, but I don't have a safe, because then again, I don't have a child, so I don't have to worry about it. But you can
no Johnny Allgood.
Yeah, you can buy little locking systems just for like the bolt of your gun, so you don't have to put it in a safe, but it's still unfireable unless you put the key in there.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what's the thing is to me is like, I live in town, and I don't live in a dangerous neighborhood where I'm scared of people. I don't live in the middle of nowhere where there's bears and mountain lions and shit. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. You know how you have like beliefs where you're like, yeah, it makes sense that people would want this, and so I guess I'm for it, but it does not interest me at all.
Yeah, like gay marriage.
Personally.
Like I
guess so.
I don't plan on getting gay married, but it's cool if other people wanna.
So here, this is a bit that I toyed around with and never went anywhere. But I was thinking about, well, if there's all these Syrian refugees and people are worried about them being terrorists, well, if they're going to be a terrorist, it's because they're very devout in their extreme religion, right? So here's my vetting process. Will you get gay married to be in the country? Because being married means you get to be here, right?
They have to get gay married in order to get the visa into the country?
Well, yeah, because what terrorist that thinks they're going to do a jihad for Allah is going to compromise their beliefs by being gay married to someone? No, that's probably just a dude that doesn't want his family to get killed, you know?
I like it. Shit.
But it's funny because this is the thing. It's like that joke, that could be a movement. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, honestly.
That could get refugees into the country, and it's a joke, yeah, but it does stand to reason that someone that's that extreme wouldn't marry a dude because that's wrong in his whatever. I don't know, but it's funny because yeah, if enough people had that idea and went through with it, we could get thousands of people in the country. You know what I mean? No one's getting married anyway.
I love the
everyone's.
I love the bits that are supposed to make literally everyone uncomfortable, but you're not wrong. Because you have so many of those, like the one where you talk about black people smell.
Oh, yeah. That you can smell like it. Yeah, the black face, the black voice, the black smell, yeah. Fuck.
And I thought of this joke the other day, but I knew even if I had my open mic, I don't know if I could say it at mine. But it's just the idea that like we are all pedophiles, just some of us grew out of it.
Oh yeah.
Cause like the entry into the bit would be like, oh man, think of the hottest girl from your 6th grade class. Now think about what you just did. You just thought about a hot 12-year-old from your fucking spank bank in your brain, you fucking pedophiles. Because it was normal to you back then.
Oh, yeah. Well, think about this. I've thought about this. If you got laid before you were 18, you fucked a kid.
Yeah, and also you get to live with that memory in your adult brain now. Are you keeping that in your spank bank for when the internet goes down and you need a little something? If so, you are also a pedophile. So all of us are pedophiles, just some of us grew out of it. We are all just various types of reformed pedophile. Some dudes never grew past wanting to fuck 18-year-olds. I did because, god damn it, they're annoying. I just want a way to call everyone a pedophile.
You just what?
I just want to be able to call everyone a pedophile and then be able to prove it. And I think that's a great way to do it. Is like, imagine the hottest person in your 6th grade class, and then when everyone does it, and be like, you're all fucking pedophiles.
Yeah, because at a time in your life, you thought that was super hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've had sexual thoughts about a 14-year-old.
Probably multiple times. Probably very intensely.
Oh, that's probably your peak of thinking about that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like you were probably jacking off 5 times a day thinking about this 13-year-old.
It's realistic that a person that isn't a technical pedophile has probably masturbated thinking about kids more than they've thought about
Exactly.
fucking adults.
Like, there's so many people that you could get to admit to jacking off to a kid sometime in their life. As long as you don't specify when, they're still a pedophile.
Yeah, that's true.
And you know what? I think I have a new podcast question there, too. When was the last time you jacked off to a kid? Just to really put him in the hot seat.
Damn, dude, our deep fakes are going to really trap us.
Yeah, they are. Oh, my God. I saw the most pedophile-ass shit the other day on the internet. I got deep into it. People were using the fucking...
Okay.
People were using the Snapchat baby filter on already existing porn videos to turn them into children.
Oh,
right?
Wow.
Right? I mean, like, still adult body, but now they just have, like, a child's face.
Eee.
Right? It's fucked up, but also that's a technology we created, so now we got to deal with the ramifications of that existing.
Okay, but think about this, and this is, I'm not the first person to think about this, but if someone that is inclined in that way has that to burn off their whatever passion, maybe they don't act on it in real life?
I mean, that's what I think is a positive. That's why I think it's wrong to vilify pedophiles that haven't done anything. It's fine to be grossed out by someone's sexual preference. Everyone thought gay people were gross until like 2012, you know? So like we have to say pedophiles exist, but as long as they're not fucking kids, they can do whatever they want in their brain, or with videos with technology we've created, or with comic books drawn in Japan, where it's like, she looks like an 8-year-old, but for some reason she's a 112-year-old demon. Like, yeah, sure, Japan, whatever the fuck you want to say. But, like, these things exist, and we can't tell people what to think. So we don't have to accept them, but we have to acknowledge it exists. And if something exists to relieve the tension that they may feel and the shame of their own brain, maybe it's not completely wrong. So you guys heard it here, folks. The Petri dish is on board with pedophiles.
Yeah.
We're here for you. Have fun deep faking modern porn videos, you fucking weirdos. Vote for Joe Biden.
Oh, man. He's the perfect mascot.
Yeah. Let's deep fake Joe as a baby. Let's do it.
One piece of legislation through. I think it'll be something related to that. Like, you know, you can sniff their hair, but that's it, Jack.
And that's the thing. It's also not illegal to sniff a kid's hair. It's not illegal, but it is fucking... Ugh.
That's one funny internet thing. I'm off of social media, but somehow it got into my, purview. Is that it was a Biden with a N95 mask on, with the nose cut out, so he could still sniff little girls.
Yeah, that tracks. Or I just imagine him having like used underwear crammed in his mask.
Yeah,
like
it's just Powerpuff Girl panties.
Just poke it out a little bit. We should Photoshop that. Somebody who knows how to use Photoshop, just Photoshop a Joe Biden picture with him with a mask on, with just like a little bit of child's underwear poking out of the bottom of it. You know what? I'll Photoshop it myself. I'll go back to creating thumbnails for every video specifically so I can make this.
That sounds pretty good.
Fuck.
Oh boy. Hey, so in Oh, that's another thing. Everyone's saying unprecedented times.
Right.
What if you? How's your love life?
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
People are like Tinder hookups not happening anymore?
not really. Most of those people are like not fucking, specifically just because they don't want to go outside.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like also hotels are closed, so you can't go just hook up in a hotel or somewhere else. Like, you gotta go to a person's house, and you probably really want to know that person before you invite someone over to your fucking house without ever meeting them before.
Well, so here's my thing: is you could go to the grocery store, and you can hand the checkout lady your dirty, fucking nasty Corona money, but like. I guess an orgy would be the worst type of thing for social distancing, but if it's just one person fucking one other person, what is the risk really that big?
In theory, yes, because who knows how many people those other people can be fucking, but like, no, but at the same time, it's safer to just assume everyone's got it, like AIDS. So I don't know. Yeah, the thing that sucks is this. Aside from my own brain and the rest of society existing, I've been doing fucking great during this whole apocalypse. You know, like I've been making a bunch of music myself. I have the ability to podcast. I just fucking didn't, and I've got a lot of fun, creative ideas. Like the only things that suck for me is like the medications that I'm on have been slow to get to me, so that fucking gets me sometimes. And then, like, I can't go to the gym, so I probably should figure out an at-home workout routine one of these days. But, like, on paper, I'm actually doing fucking fine, you know? So, nothing bad is happening to me, which is kind of dank.
Yeah, for me, the stand-up's the only thing that's gone away. Like, I was working at the machine shop, because it's an essential service, because they make the valves for pharmaceuticals and food, you know, whatever. So we got to just keep working. And the funniest thing to me is, like, so everyone else there, it's all Mexican dudes and their wives. And what they do is every break, they bring all of their leftovers, and everyone just swaps it. It's just like a potluck every day.
Hell yeah.
Which is fucking awesome, but it's just so funny because everyone there was wearing masks, but then just grabbing carnitas out of the same fucking bowl. It's like, I don't know. It's funny, the cognitive dissonance. You can just... Oh, in one aspect of my life, I'll wear this mask while I'm doing my job, but we're all sharing food that we're all touching. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't think we're naturally. Our brains just don't work that way to keep separate from each other.
Oh yeah, humans just in their nature are very community oriented. You know, like. I guess in some aspects we've lost that according to, you know, the way we've set up our cities and the way they are now. But, like, when you get down to basics again, aside from a few outliers, people want to be there for their community or their people around them because having a sense of purpose outside of self feels nice.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, that's where I kind of agree in some aspects to the fucking, like, way too Christian right. Like, they're wrong about most of the societal shit and the Bible is dumb, but at the same time, we are losing the family unit in the way that exists. We are losing some of the things that keep us human. So I don't know. I think it's nice to be able to return to wanting to be part of a community and wanting to be close to people again. Because honestly, that's what a lot of the dudes around the comedy scene get, you know, is a sense of community. And it's just sometimes people suck, so it's tough. But, you know, That's why outcasts also exist.
Well, and I was thinking about this too, like, I always have to couch this in the thing of like, well, I am who I am, so I don't know what the experiences of other people are. I might be ignorant to a lot of things, but I was going over this with Kate, like, everything that gives my life meaning and value, I would go down the list. I'd say my kid, my relationship with Kate, the respect and the friendship that I've gotten from people in the stand-up community. I went down the list, and before I get to any white privilege shit, there's like 4 or 5 like big things that are like the most important things to me that aren't exclusive to specifically who I am, gender, race, sexuality. It's like all of those things, you got to go pretty far down the list before it's like, oh, well, yeah, I guess I might have succeeded in business a little bit better, or maybe a lot better. I'm open to that. But the things that make us human and give us value and purpose and enjoyment, like, I feel like it's pretty far down the list before I get to my privilege. Not that it doesn't exist, but like, do you know what I mean by that?
Oh, no, totally. And that's why I think me and you get along so well, because like you understand what you like and where you are in society. And I'm the same way, except I am gaming it to benefit only for myself because I know I can. But it's like the things that I define myself with, like, I don't know, like race maybe can come in top 10, but it's never been important to me other than like achieving other things that I enjoy or like building the communities that I've tried to build around myself because I enjoy people and experiences more than I enjoy anything else. And so like I the same way I'd rather go with a couple people that I like to a remote location and fuck around over some big concert or some big, expensive location thing. Like, I'd rather go fuck around in the desert with like you and Austin rather than go to like a giant festival of things.
Do you think those things being taken away from people, even especially like the people that's like their most important part of their life, do you think people are realizing that, or are they even more hungry to go back to the way that they used to be?
I think they're more hungry for it because some people find that same sense of community in things that make them feel that. The same reason that we set up concerts exactly the same the way we do is to get that religious experience of worshiping towards a thing. So people want to feel that quote-unquote sense of community with all the people around them, hoping they can experience the same event, And that's why I think as comedians we can get away with what we do, because as long as we're making everyone in the room feel like they're having that experience, we can get away with a lot. It's when we start taking individual people out of that experience with whatever the fuck we're saying, or when those people remove themselves from that experience. And I think that large entertainment, specifically like festivals or, like cover bands and stadium shit, it's going to be bigger than ever after we get out of this. The problem is going to be local entertainment or the smaller people, because no one's going to give a shit about the communities we're building. They're going to want that manufactured community event because that's how they've defined themselves.
Oh,
it's bleak.
That's a bit of a bummer. What I really enjoyed about comedy is like just being part of it. Yeah, none of us have ever made any fucking money.
Yeah.
But, you have a reputation amongst your peers, which seems like, man, I feel like people just want to and they don't want to admit it, but I think people do want to have close-knit communities and not just be a part of the overall, thing. So that's a bummer that you do think that like big like concerts are going to be more of a thing than people getting together for their local band that they like.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's going to be the same fight we've always had to deal with because, most of the time, us smaller entertainers are delivering the service wrong, no matter how good we do it. People don't want to do what we think they do most of the time. They just want to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves, or that they're a part of something that everyone around them also likes. It's why DJs are so big now, because they just distilled that down. They brought everyone together. They gave them a bunch of fucking happy drugs, and they said, stand around and feel each other's body heat. Just be the most you can be because you're important. And white kids love hearing that shit. So like, that's what they're going to go do. They're gonna go feel a part of their community because that's what's important to them. They don't want to build their own community because that's a lot of fucking work.
Oh, I guess so. I remember I was texting you about that, I forget the name of the thing, but it was just this guy that recorded his neighbors, and they would just fight with each other. And he would record it, and it became like this huge pop culture thing locally, is that everyone, the graphic artists or whatever would draw, their little zine or whatever comic book based off of this, like, obscure, like these tapes of these two old men fighting that didn't even know they were being recorded. So I don't know what that has to do with anything we're talking about, but it just seems like there used to be a way that you could do something interesting and get some sort of accolades or fame,
some
if
sort
you
of
want to call it
attention.
that or whatever.
Yeah.
But you could just do something interesting, and then a community would build around it.
I mean,
but now it seems like everyone kind of gets funneled towards several different things, and that's all that's out there.
I don't know. To a point, I feel like that's still true. It's just people don't have the patience to wait for their audience to catch up. People want to binge things now. People want to take the thing that's in front of them and entirely consume it. So as creators, we need to be able to build up enough of a backlog of things for people to totally consume, to understand what's in front of them. It's the same reason that reality TV stars are so popular, because if you're only putting out one thing a week or one thing a month, it's not enough. But if you can get a little hit of that thing you enjoy every single day, sometimes twice, that's the thing you're going to follow. It's why vlogging on YouTube got so big recently, because if you get to check in with this person you enjoy every day and feel like they're your personal friend, you feel fulfillment from it. And so comedy needs to catch up a little bit with the exact thing they've been railing against for the last decade. Becoming personalities. Becoming more than just a single stage show and that's it, which is why so many people, they've got podcasts, they got the Instagram presence, they're constantly tweeting, and people just follow that because they like this person. It's why Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer are so good at being who they are. Because that's just them and their friend group fucking around. And that's what people want.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's so weird because it was probably 10 or so years ago, I would listen to Pandora, and I had all of these comedians that I really enjoyed, and I was like, oh, I wish there was more. I wish Kyle Kinane didn't have just 2 CDs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Back when it was just Death of the Party and Whiskey Icarus. I was sitting in the same boat.
Yeah. It's so funny because, like, But then you find out if you really do like the person or just the art that they make, and there's a point to be made that, hey, maybe people should only the thing that you've perfected is the thing that you want out there.
Yep. And I think that's the modern creator struggle is, how can we make it look like we're letting people fully into our lives without completely getting consumed by it and still putting out something of quality? And that's where you need, like, entire team. Like, you need 3 editors and 2 social media people behind you as an individual in order to churn out something of quality every day. The model that I like to follow is the Good Mythical Morning guys, Rhett and Link. They started off as super religious missionaries, and that's where they built their following. And then they started doing weird little parody songs every once in a while, and then they started a daily talk show that fucking blew up on YouTube. So now they're back to vlogging, but they're not as religious anymore, and they're putting out a weekly podcast. They're putting out 3 times a week vlogs of their own life, on top of putting out like 5 times a week their talk show situation. So they have a fuckload of those things going as just the personalities of those 2, but also there's like a team of 40 people behind them to make it look like they are your people. And it's amazing what they're doing, because no one else, at least in comedy that I know of, has put together the depth and breadth of work they have to be funny and be personalities and still be going after. They've been doing it for at least 10 years now.
Well, you know what's crazy to me is that the antisocial type that is one of the archetypes of creative people.
Yep.
Is that they let the work speak for themselves, and that's it. And because they're largely antisocial, but being that way means that, all of us are social animals, but if you're that type that can bottle it all up into one piece of art and then put it out, and then that's it until the next thing, like, that type of person seems to really be kind of fucked over in this, like, constant need to produce things where it's like, I'm not ready. The thing that I do well takes time to put together, and maybe I'm not that interesting day to day, but I can make one great piece of art every couple of years.
Yeah, that's the struggle we're seeing with people like Kyle Kinane, like he's, boisterous and fun sometimes when he's on stage, but his entire persona is kind of this standoffish observer of the dregs of society. And he kind of personifies that, but at the same time, that personality can only observe so much. And it can only take so much of filtering the negativity into something positive before, like he's currently doing, saying fuck everybody and then just like mountain biking with some buddies all the time. Like at a certain point you just say, entertainment's not for me anymore because what it's become is too much. But I think the snake is eating its own tail of comedy and entertainment. Like, we're going to go back to the vaudevillian style of comics where you're just you and people are paying the tickets to go see Laurel and Hardy because you heard they're goofy, and if they're going to be in town, totally cool. And we're going to want to go back to that because it is a more sustainable looking way of entertainment.
I always think about, like, what would George Carlin's podcast be like?
That's
what I mean? Like,
that's weird to think about. I honestly feel like he would be much more of a Mark Maron type figure. Like, very introspective and not as, kooky and fun as a stage person would be, but you're still trying to create and make a point.
Yeah. Well, and I think that the people that I really respect kind of only have a couple things here and there that really stick in their craw. They're not geared towards doing this observational comedy and having a hot take on everything. You know what I mean? Because it's beneath them. It's, what? Oh, Cardi B has a new video. What am I going to say about it? She dances. She's got a nice body. All right. Like, it seems like everyone always has to have such an opinion constantly, because if you don't, well then you don't have any content. So it seems like everyone has to have an opinion about something that they don't even care about.
And that's what I kind of hate about the way comedy has been going, is the need for an opinion about everything, is the need for hot takes, or what's the new take. It's like, no, there's like 3 jokes you can make. They've all been made on Twitter already. Like if you want to make a joke and bring it to the stage, cool, but also, like, what's happening with you? Why should we care why you're talking?
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I tell, at least all the new comics that I've had to deal with just for the short time that I've had my mic. It's like, sometimes you don't even need to aim to be funny. Just give us a reason why you're on stage wasting our time. Because no matter what, it is a waste of time, because that's what entertainment is. We are passing people's time that they have left over. So why are you here? Please give a reason.
Yeah. I think that the type of person that should be doing comedy is the person that's contemplating things and taking a while to form their opinion, where it's just this rush to throw shit out there that I don't know. I haven't seen a really good special in a while.
Yeah. It's because the new formula is, I mean, it was 2 years, but now it's just kind of, everyone's just kind of racing to see how much money you can get, which is, like, honestly, go get it. If Netflix is willing to give you millions of dollars and you just get to see what the fuck comes out of your mouth, fucking dope. I mean, I'll go back to Bert Kreischer. He's not my favorite comic, but I understand him, and he keeps it personal. He gives you a reason why he's saying words. He'll give you a story. And if he's going to do anything observational, there's a reason he got there. It's why I think your comedy works so well, because you aren't going on stage and being like, don't black people smell weird? You're saying, from the scope of society and from the scope of what I know is wrong and or right, is this fucked up? And that's why it's funny, because you're you're saying, I know what I look like and I know what's acceptable, but what about this in the middle here? What do we do with it? Somebody tell me, because I can't do it, but I want someone to show me why I can't.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's, I feel like everything that you do is so personalized to your way of seeing things.
Yeah, it is. I have a strong viewpoint on life, and I try to filter things lightly through it.
But the problem that I see for you is that, like, I mean, sometimes for comedic effect, you'll take a hard stance on something meaningless.
Yeah. Because
that's funny. It's funny that someone thinks that they're this angry about waffles.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Because it's the absurdity of that happening. It's not really that you care that much. It's just that
there's an underlying issue that's obviously not being addressed that is being put upon this, insert noun.
Right. Yeah. God damn, I fucking want to do comedy again.
Right? I've been boiling so many things down to now I'm at the point where I'm like, fuck, I could go up on stage and just kind of say anything right now. Just for myself. But yeah, I don't know. The way I've the way I've distilled my own style of doing comedy, I've picked it apart so much that now I don't want to do jokes anymore at all. I almost want to do weird one-act plays in front of everybody.
Well, that's what I used to love about the old format of the podcast, and that's what I used to love so much about doing a character on stage, is because it frees you up to it's so we have so few leaders in the world that people are, for some reason, looking towards comedians for morality and like, hey, make this make sense to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When it's just supposed to be we're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And
just be goofy.
We have so little at stake that we're willing to say and do things that, people that have something to lose wouldn't even take a chance on. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about doing a character that is fun. I wonder if that's going to be the future a little bit more, is that, we don't have... I feel like the last comedian that had, like, a point to make and was funny enough to pull it off was Stanhope.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I listen to this podcast, and he just seems to... There's always been, like a nihilistic bent to his worldview. But I don't know if you listen to his shit, but he's just so far beyond caring about trying to make a difference.
Yeah,
which is funny, because that's not where humor's supposed to come from. And the rare people that do it well are the people that are looked at as the greatest of all time. But, like, I don't know, it burns you out, it looks like.
Yeah, I haven't listened to any of his stuff that's recent, but I honestly, I know where it's going to end up, because the same thing has happened to all my, like, punk rock dudes that I've ever looked up to. It's, you have so much energy to, show everyone the ugly side of their ass in the mirror, that eventually everyone knows, and you're left being useless. And now you just have to be an old person. And your opinions exist, and you have to watch everyone have them now, even though they were your opinions and your stories. But now you are history, and you're still alive.
Yeah, it used to be that you would point out the cracks that other people aren't noticing.
Yeah.
And now everything is just so fucking fractured and so in front of us that, holy fuck, what? What am I going to be pointing out that isn't clearly available for everyone to see?
Right. And so, yeah, I can definitely see that happening. I just think we need to return back to not having fucking hot takes and opinions on shit. And, like, sure, mocking people is fun, whatever. But being able to make it funny enough that it doesn't end up just kind of being a hyperbole specifically to make a point, like, it just doesn't seem like it hasn't been covered already. Probably by better people paid millions of dollars and shot professionally, So we just gotta be fucking goofy again, much like Steve Martin eased all of everyone's fucking, like, politically opinionated and overly serious stand-up shit, and he was just like, look, I got an arrow going through my head. It's like, people recognize that as funny because it is. Like, slapstick comedy and weird absurdism doesn't get old, it just falls out of fashion. The same with, like, the other 4 styles of comedy we have. It's all a cycle that we'll end up going back to. There's not really going to be anything new that happens. It's just we have to acknowledge sometimes shit gets old.
Yeah.
And it's just...
It's kind of... that's my thing, is, like, there's always been, like, an absurdist bent to it. Like... But I don't even know what's absurd anymore.
Yeah, the thing is, society has gotten so absurd that it's hard to make a mockery of anything as satire because the worst has happened. So we can't really make comedy with a point anymore because there is no point. Life is kind of a chore. So that's just what we got to deal with, is life is a chore. So let's get our hands dirty and get to work.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I was talking to Kate about this. Like, I think whoever you are, if you are an artistic genius, you find the most powerful medium available to you at the time to express yourself. And I was thinking about, if Jimi Hendrix was alive now, he would definitely be a comedian. But I don't know if that even. I think it's got to be. I think the last 10 or 20 years, music has been somewhat stagnant, and comedy really has kind of become the counterculture voice of the artistic mind. And I think we're kind of coming past that point when comedy served that purpose.
Yeah.
So I don't even know, like, what art form is going to be the next thing that allows people to transgress against norms and power structures, like
video games.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, like, what are we going to learn? Like, comedy, we used to be able to have opinions and learn things from other smarter people than us. Now we can't. Because everyone knows everything. But video games, you can break down step by step how to do certain things for certain people. You can create an entire video game that's a how-to on how to overthrow the government. Like, nobody has yet, but it could be programmed and put out. And then that can go across borders, and then suddenly you're overthrowing governments elsewhere. And that's how Venezuela collapses. Thanks, America.
Well, you saw the thing about Animal Crossing?
Yeah.
In Hong Kong?
Yeah. Shit's fun.
Yeah, I guess you might be right. I guess video games are like, I guess it's just too much processing for them to easily, because if you write a joke in a tweet, an algorithm can pretty much pinpoint your worldview and the thrust of your efforts, right? But if you play a video game in a certain way, the coded messages that you're putting out there by playing it that way, I think that's maybe too hard. Takes too much computing power for them to analyze.
And that's why we have streamers to show us.
Fuck. Who do you think is literally who? Do you think the NSA or the FBI or CIA? Do you think anyone's listening to you, checking in?
Nah, not unless I put keywords into certain things. Will they check in? So I don't think they do.
No, you think you're out here pirate radioing?
Yep, I think I'm clear for now, unless I set off a tripwire somewhere.
Yeah, well, you were fucking with those gun coffee people a while back.
Yeah, I was. They really liked that. Fuck, I don't know. I think we're coming up on a little too long here, almost. So.
Yeah, I know. I'm a long-winded fuck.
We've got more to talk about eventually. So we'll just have to get back to it. Maybe every week.
Maybe, yeah. We'll do a little. Yeah, we'll check in. We'll see what's up.
Hell yeah.
You're still working though?
Yep, still working.
Everyone in the house is occupied and doing stuff?
Pretty much. We can find times to get everyone on the mic one of these days.
Yeah, I should just come out there.
Do it. Fuck it. We don't care.
What the fuck? I already had the shit. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I already had it once, too. And I think we're all fucking fine. So, yeah, fucking come out one of these days. We'll just have some beers and fuck around.
All right, yeah. That sounds good to me. Fucking, damn, dude. We haven't been funny for a while, have we?
No, but that's what happens. We haven't been able to flex our comedy muscles anyway, so all we have is this.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Me and Kate have been getting so weird. We've made sure for a fact that we could not exist on the dating market for any other person other than ourselves.
That's beautiful.
We have morphed into the same. We're the Rick and Morty, where the Jerry and the Beth become the same
dependent.
monster. Yeah. We've come to that just in the sheer silliness.
I think that's a beautiful thing.
Well, good. Maybe we'll get her out there and we'll see what's up.
Fuck yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, signing off from the Carson City bunker.
Oh yeah, you're just trapped out there, it's all on your own down in the Capitol where it's dangerous and there's roving bands of people with guns. All right, let me hold on.
Dude, it's so much. Dude, nothing looks different. Everything's the same.
Oh yeah, nothing's changed. It's just we're all internally collapsing. Guys, that's been the podcast. Just tune in every week from now on. Sorry I took time off. I'll get back to doing this free thing for you constantly. Thanks for being on, Sam. That's been the end.
All right, the end.